remember when I was in my early 20s, I decided I would try to experience some clairvoyance. I had been able to do that when I was a little girl, but it always scared me, and so I just kind of turned it off. When I was a little girl, like when I was 4, if I thought about something in a certain way, it would appear right before my eyes. And I conjured up some scary stuff, and so I stopped doing that. But over the years, it's like you feel it. I guess, well, the pineal gland, the 6th chakra, you can feel it. It's down in the middle of the head. You can feel it, and it does really feel like you can kind of change the vibration. I don't want to sound new agey there, but that's what it feels like. So I kept it turned off, you know, most of my life. And when I was young, I could always just turn it back on when I wanted to. I can't really do that now. There are a number of reasons for that. Anyway, when I was in my early 20s, I decided to try and use this faculty again, and I thought that I would just, like, you know, as I was lying in bed at night going to sleep, having the hypnagogic images, that I would do it that way, just kind of like open up, and one of the first things I did was I had this huge crush on this man. I didn't really know him. I just, you know, how you are when you're young and you're stupid. I had a huge crush on a man I didn't really even know very well, and so before I went to bed one night, I thought, I'm going to tune in on him. I'm curious about him. I want to get some information. I want to find something out about him. So it's kind of embarrassing to talk about. I guess I just won't go into details, but you know, I was lying there relaxing and having the hypnagogic imagery. So it starts out, it's just like wispy. You're lying there with your eyes closed, and most people have this kind of imagery, at least at some point, and some hypnagogics, it's auditory. I've experienced that too. I experienced that a lot as a teenager. That's how I came to start writing some really bad poetry, but that's another story. But so when I was in my early 20s and I had this huge crush on this man, I thought, I'm going to tune in on him. I'm curious about him. I want to see what I can find out. And so I was lying in bed one night, letting the hypnagogia start to happen, and it starts out like misty. You know, you close your eyes, everything's black, and then, but you start to you start to see things in your mind's eye. And me, it starts out kind of misty, and then it'll get a little more, less and less misty, and then it'll be like shadowy, images kind of coming forward, and they become it becomes, you know, more frequent, and then more definite images, and it's sort of like a stream and coming towards me, and then boom, boom, right there in my mind's eye is a real clear image. And it's always, it's so startling, so I don't like doing that. Probably if I did it more frequently, you know, it would be a more smooth process. But I had this huge crush on this man, and I tuned in on him, and it was just this sudden image of him, and I don't want to go into details because it's really kind of embarrassing, but he was engaged in a kind of a sexual fetish kind of thing, and I was like, oh my god, and my reaction was, oh my god, what's wrong with me? Why did my mind dream that up? Something's wrong with me. So, you know, a year or two went by, and I got up the nerve to go talk to him, and long story short, we started seeing each other, and, you know, and, I, you know, in our relationship, I, eventually found out that he did indeed have this particular sexual fetish. And the funny thing is that when I had this imagery, I didn't even know such a fetish existed. And I just tuned, there was the image of it. And it was so bizarre. At least it was to me. I'm a lot older now. Nothing surprises me anymore. It wasn't like anything really, really horrible. It's not like it was anything, you know, that would put anybody in prison or anything. It was pretty specific. The imagery was very specific. I had no way of knowing that about him. The image I got in my mind's eye was totally total odds of the idea that I had about this man, and I thought something was wrong with me. I thought, what is wrong with my mind? Because my mind created it. Actually, my mind didn't. My mind just received it perfectly. But it was shortly after that I decided to tune in again one night. But this time I wasn't trying to tune in on anything specific. I was just gonna open up and let whatever came. And that was the last time I did that for a long time, because, you know, as usual, the hypnagogia happens. Misty images, shadowy images, partial images, more and more, and then boom, right there, in my mind's eye, was this man, and he seemed so evil. I can't remember if his eyes were green or blue, but they were real light and bright, and his face was so smooth, like he didn't have to shave. He I don't know. He was a man who didn't have to shave because no hair grew on his face. And I remember for some reason, I thought of Jack the Ripper because this guy just seemed so evil. And what was creepy about it is he was looking back at me. He was looking into my mind. Oh my God. You know, it's like, I guess in some plane, it wouldn't be in the astral plane, I don't know, some plane, there I was experimenting, and a part of me, I guess maybe was in a plane, a total newbie, a little innocent sheep, you know, wandering around, and boom, there was a predator. Scared the hell out of me. It's creepy. It's creepy because, you know, it's like when you're watching a scary movie. I don't like horror movies. So I have bad dreams afterwards. The images, I just, you know, I have to be careful about what I look at. And but I don't like, you know, that. But it's like when you're watching a really scary movie, and you know, it's like gets to a scary part, and say you know, the protagonist is maybe walking through a haunted house, or a house where there might be a serial killer waiting to jump out and get them. And you know how the suspense is. They're like walking around, you know, slowly, and you know, the camera, you see different shots and of you know, that the camera has, and it's like, you know, a certain pace, and then all of a sudden, it always happens, it's like boom, and you know, you're sitting there in the theater or at home, and you know, you jump back like that, and you know what that's like. We all know what that's like, and that's, you know, creepy enough. People pay to have that experience, but it's even creepier though when that imagery is inside your own head. So that's why it's scary, you know, to have clairvoyance sometimes. How the hell did I start talking about this? What was I thinking? I don't know. I was just sitting here, playing around with my webcam, this cheap webcam, adjusting the color and the darkness, and I did it like this, and it looked dark and spooky, so I thought maybe I should tell a scary tale. That was the first thing that popped into my mind. I don't know why.